So a lot happened in a very short amount of time. WB closed down Roosterteeth. We were actually on a Discord when this happened, and it got posted. Holy shit. Everything just went crazy at once, from Discord to the Twitter. I was on the side of the fandom that friggin' celebrated this happening. It was too long coming because, from my perspective, we've had this volume 10 hashtag going on for over a year. My perspective on is I support the fandom itself and the artists, from the ones that do art to the authors to the musicians. I support them. That's why with the summer of Rwby coming up, I hope all of the artists in all their forms of media prosper, and I hope the fandom supports them. I've lost fucking touch with Canon Rwby because of the amount of fucking shit in the goddamn show, especially after the Atlas arc, and I wasn't thrilled by Volume 9 at all. What bits of it I just couldn't give a shit about. So, and then you had the Volume 10 hashtag, and my perspective on it for the whole time was one the fans were not a fan of. I said, before Volume 9 happened, well, the money didn't come from WB, even though they're the ownership company, and it didn't come from Roosterteeth themselves. It came from Crunchyroll. They needed an outside source, and that was already a giant red flag, because it said that WB gave zero fucks about Roosterteeth, even though they owned it. So they needed to outsource funding from another streaming service, and even though they got a large sum of money from Crunchyroll, they did not deliver on a large scale volume, like Volume 8 or 7. They shortened the volume in size, which was Volume 9. It became a shorter volume, so we don't know the statistics on whether the budget was, I don't know, unless you'd have to. Rwby and Roosterteeth aren't big on releasing the budgets of a volume. Their money statistics, they're not big on releasing that information. If you go look at a blockbuster movie that gets released in the cinemas, or even to Blu-ray hard copy, most likely you'll find the statistics on how much funding went into something. Roosterteeth ain't big on releasing that type of shit, usually because they're in debt and they're not clearing how much they need to make back. Usually if they're in the loss area and they're not making money, they won't release. Companies usually only like to brag when they're making money, and Roosterteeth, well, at the time, was in this situation. And the Rwby fandom didn't like to hear this from people in their fandom. Oh, you're in the shit. You're not making money. This was all Volume 9 area and post Volume 9. You try explaining to the fandom during the time that they're going, hashtag Volume 10, hashtag Volume 10, and they're jerking off Rwby, and you're trying to explain to them what a business practice is. Hey, it's been 3 months. It's been 6 months. Where's the streaming service to fund your fucking shit? If Crunchyroll did it before, and your volume was so great, why aren't they fucking funding you again? And they didn't. It got to a year. It got to an excess of a year, and Crunchyroll never fucking came back to give you more money. And yet, you could ask, hey, Kerry, have you gone to Crunchyroll? You're the director. Hey, where are the big hats at Roosterteeth? Have you gone to Crunchyroll? The fandom here's jerking you off, saying Crunchyroll every 2 fucking seconds. It's obvious Crunchyroll wasn't gonna give you fuck all money. They did it once, and if you had to guess, If it's been more than a year, they've done their taxes and they did not get good return. This is where the fandom had to wake up at some fucking point. And the funny thing is, now that Rooster Teeth has essentially been shut down by WB, people are still saying, well, who's gonna buy Rwby? Everyone's now woken up and gone, it's business time. And people are like, first thing, it's gonna be Crunchyroll. You're entering a different business aspect now. You see, before, you're giving money to, ideally, you're giving money to fund a volume. That's a small amount of money to fund a project. The other sum of money is to stream the project. You're entering a contract for those two things. You're funding the volume and to stream the volume rights. That's a small amount of money. You're buying the IP, you buy everything that goes with it. You're buying all the volumes from 1 to 9. You're buying Chibi. You're buying whatever video games, or not so much any video games that were produced by Rooster Teeth, or pretty much how much shares they own in certain video games. Because just say, trying to think, they did that crossover, the fighting game crossover video game where only a few of their characters were in. They don't own that video game, but I wonder, because their characters are featured in that, did they get a percentage of the rights of that video game? And you've got to consider all this shit goes into their IP. Have they already been paid off for that? I'm guessing they've already been paid off for that in a business deal. They've already been paid off for that in the so it wouldn't consider in the future IP purchasing. See, this is all business shit you take into consideration. I don't think it would pay into the current IP. They've been paid off in the past for the right to use the characters in the past. But this is what I'm getting at. The music is contracted through Casey and her father. So they pay off Casey in the past. So all the soundtrack shit that goes through, I don't know if it's, I'm pretty sure it's on Spotify. So all the IP shit. This isn't a simple purchase. That's what I'm getting at. If someone was to find out how much Crunchyroll invested in Volume 9, how much they paid for the Volume 9 budget, plus the streaming rights, just imagine you'll be paying probably 10 times that amount. Easy. Because you're buying more than that. You're buying everything. And everything can be, whoever ends up buying it can stick it online in an archive and charge people a subscription service to view all this shit. They can stick Chibi, the 9 volumes, the music, everything on a subscription service online and tell people, hey, you want to watch this shit from now on? Bang. It's only on our service because we fucking own it. And you have to pay us to bloody watch it. They can do that going forward because they're going to own the IPs. What in the past, all the WB, all the Rooster Teeth deals, just say they've contracted the music out to Spotify. That once those contracts are up, whether the music's been contracted out to Spotify, just say the deal's for 4 years and the deal has to be renewed, they can choose to renew that deal for a certain amount of money through Spotify, or they can cancel it and just keep it on their subscription site. This is shit. People have to. This is business. And people don't realize this is how fucked up it could end up turning. And people don't understand it. I reckon the fandom's like, oh no, a few people are going to get together. And they're going to be like, oh yeah, we can easily purchase Rwby. And you're like, you think it's going to go that cheap? You think this shit goes that cheap? I don't think it will. I don't think it will. It's probably the reason it's not been sold the whole fucking time. You must realize WB's been trying to get rid of this shit for a fucking while, and no one wants to fucking buy it because of the price that they've been asking for it. That's the number one problem the whole fucking time. Secondly, and I can't believe this is a fucking problem. I can't believe I'm still seeing this. People are like, well, whoever buys it, please bring back as much of the Rwby stuff as possible. Are you all dumb fucks? I know some people straight up right now are gonna like maybe pause the video or just end the video because you're like, oh, but that's the right thing. No. And you might think I'm being a dickhead here, but no, there's two reasons for this. There's two outright reasons for this. One, it doesn't matter if you're a hardcore fan that's been worshipping the series your whole fucking life, or if it doesn't matter if you're a critic that's been just shitting on the series and breaking it apart. No matter which section you sit in, you can identify that the people who make the show have done a lot of fuck-ups in regards to the plot and the execution of this story going forward. There are so many goddamn plot holes, questions, and shit that has gone wrong in this goddamn story that the fans are literally just want to smack someone across the back of the fucking head. And it's the reason that so many people have so many questions or are rewriting the story so it makes some fucking goddamn molecule sense in their goddamn head. People are still arguing over why shit happens the way it does because it doesn't make sense in the goddamn story. So you want to take these people who have made these amount of mistakes and be like, yeah, come back. Now that we have the one opportunity to get new people in, let's bring you back so you can fuck it up some more. To that, I say the fandom must be masochists at this part. You must love suffering. And for the second point, I ask this truthfully. Have any of you ever left a job or been fired from a job? Truthfully. Because it's actually a blessing in disguise, both of those situations. If you've ever just left a job, and if you've been at that job for a while, and you've just left the job and you feel free. All the weight and everything you've carried from that job and bloody held it on your back for such a long friggin' time, and you know you've bloody been carrying that friggin' place on your back for so friggin' long, and it's like, shit. Now you got the opportunity. Like, look at it this way. Miles himself has had a foot out the door for so friggin' long and only comes back, writes a bit, and then fucks off again because he's had his dreams. Oh, I want to be a voice actor. I want to write the plot for a friggin' video game. Like, he's made his dreams very well known for so friggin' long. This is an opportunity for animators. This is an opportunity for the writers. Hell, come on, Kerry, friggin' director. This is an opportunity for all of Roosterteeth. Hey, go get new jobs. Go work on something new. Do something else that isn't Rwby. Put something else on that goddamn resume that isn't Rwby. Show us you can do something else besides this goddamn show. Like, dead set. Every single time I've turned around and seen Miles Luna's name, like when I've watched freaking Transformers and seen that he's been voice acting in that, I've just been like, damn, that's his voice? And I've been impressed. Dead set. I've gone from like shitting on him on this show to being like, damn, he actually pulled that shit off. I could not recognize that was him. Good for him. So I'm like, you know what, for Rwby? Get out of this shit. Get out of this fucking show. Even Casey, just fuck this show in the end. Just go do other shit. Find something else and go do other shit. Let Rwby end up wherever the fuck it ends up, truthfully, and let other people deal with it. And if the fandom is gonna moan and bitch about it, fuck them. Fuck them, honestly. Because the way I perceive it is the way I perceive how fan works happen. As I said at the beginning of this video, when I'm following Rwby artists, like Rwby AUs and everything, the Rwby fans don't really give a fuck about the Rwby artists in their own fandom. They don't. And that really pisses me off. They don't. They if you were to ask them, if they were to go online now because they feel attacked, like if any of them saw this, they will feel attacked. Of course we support the artist. Of course. We're here for our fellow Rwby. They're so full of shit. They will follow the Rwby canon. That's it. That's it. We've done our job. We just want to know what's going on in the canon. They don't give a fuck about the following artists. And you can see this just by following any of the artists. Follow the likes. Anytime they post shit in the community, there's a difference between like viewing a post, how many times it's been viewed, how many times it's been liked, how many times a comment is made on their post. And then you go and you go on YouTube, look at one of Canon Rwby's videos, how many views it's got, how many likes it's got, how many comments it's got. And the way I view it is, how did all this start? With Monty. And Monty himself, in his own way, was just an artist. And people like to dick ride Monty and be like, oh, he was that fucking great. And I'm like, if you're going to sit here and dick ride Monty, and yet you're not going to give any respect, any love to the artist in the current Rwby fandom, and yet you're going to be here saying, oh, no. We're going to be all shitty about, Rwby going down, and we got to keep the canon staff around and everything. And I'm just like, fuck it. This is an opportunity for them to move on and go to a new section of their lives and move on and bring new people in for them to have a go. That's the way I view it. Reboot the series, because the blessing of rebooting the series means new people come in to work on the series. They get to do their interpretation of Rwby. And then you get, God knows, another fucking 10 years of bloody Rwby. Instead of having the same bloody people piss you off like they've done over the last 3 years. And that's all I'm going to say on the matter. I say Roosterteeth shut down. Fuck yeah. Bound to happen. Deserved to happen.